NBC Sports presents NASCAR. Live from the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois, it's the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Tropicana 400. The sport of stock car racing was born in the Southeast, and in the 90s it ventured to new venues like California, Las Vegas, Texas, and New Hampshire. Today, the Winston Cup Series plans to take the Windy City by storm. NASCAR has come to suburban Chicago for the first Tropicana 400. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Benny Parsons. We're aboard the War Wagon right here on pit road at Chicagoland. And if you think the storyline last week was something, wait till you see what we got in store for you this afternoon. You're not going to believe this. But seriously, Benny, last Saturday night, great race, great week for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It was magic last Saturday night, and I think me, you, and every fan there realized we were seeing absolute magic. And that's why the fans wouldn't leave. They knew as soon as they turned their back on the scene, it would disappear forever. It would be gone. So they stood there for, what, 30, 45 minutes just staring at the festivities going on in the infield.
Well, we'll have more on Dale Earnhardt Jr. and flash back to the Pepsi 400 in just a few minutes. Now, first of all, let's check in with the disciplinary report. The post-race report card from Daytona says Tony Stewart doesn't play well with others. A fine of $10,000, and his probation has been extended through November 21st for what is called conduct detrimental to the sport. He stands tall in the racing world, but once again this season, there have been a few bumps on Tony Stewart's road to stardom. He seems to change from victor to villain in the blink of an eye, not just taking his intensity to the line, but sometimes crossing it. Sure, he often roars like a lion, but that's part of how he has learned to survive in the densely competitive Winston Cup jungle. And we're joined on the War Wagon by Tony Stewart. And first of all, obviously some intense moments for you last Saturday night.
Sure it is. I mean, it's the most competitive series in the country. So, you know, if we weren't intense about it and if you didn't fight for what you thought was right, I mean, we'd run in the back every week. So, you know, I fought for what I thought was right. The fact that I did it outside the trailer and instead of inside the trailer is what the fine was about. So, you know, I'm always going to stick up for what I think's right. And whether I'm right or wrong, I mean, yes, one question to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. But in my opinion, we were done wrong last week by that. I could have crashed 20 cars and taken out half the field at Daytona, but, you know, I went below the line to save, you know, my fellow drivers there, and instead I got fined for it. So, you know, getting penalized, and they penalized the team. We lost championship points. We lost a lot there by trying to be a good guy. So, you know, NASCAR is just setting an example of how they want us to race. So it's their rules. We'll just play by them.
Benny?
Tony, you've had a week to think about it. I mean, NASCAR said in the drivers' meeting, if you went below the yellow line to advance your position, you'd be penalized. What would you have done?
Well, you know, it's a new rule, and the problem with that is it's a good rule. I've always believed in it. When they first talked about bringing that rule into effect, I believed in it. But, you know, there's situations where what we got put into the other day, you know, when we were at Bristol and Jeff Gordon got underneath me, they said that was okay. Well, I was underneath Johnny Benson the same amount of space and was underneath him in bounds. Then I got pushed out of bounds. Well, they never said that if you pass the guy under that situation, let him go the next straightaway, and it would have been all right. That was never brought up. I did what I thought was right. I could have crashed Johnny Benson, and according to what NASCAR told me at Bristol, it would have been okay to crash Johnny there, but I wasn't going to put Johnny in that position. I wasn't going to put the 20 or 30 guys behind me in that position. So, you know, it was a tough situation, and it's a judgment call on NASCAR's part, and they did what they thought was right. I didn't agree with it. I don't think anybody else agreed with it, but it's NASCAR. At least they stuck behind their guns and stuck with their decision. So, you know, I was just pleading my case saying this is why I went down there. I wasn't doing it for an advantage. I did it because I didn't want to get in a wreck, and I didn't want to wreck anybody else. So I was just trying to look out for everybody else.
Well, I know you're an intense guy, so keep that intensity on the track. Best of luck here today in Chicago.
We'll try to. We're looking forward to it. It's an awesome facility.
Okay, well, Tony Stewart starts 27th. Next to the current Winston Cup points leader, that's Jeff Gordon. He has some fireworks of his own to remember from the race last weekend at Daytona. In fact, he left there with just a fraction of the points lead he started with.
indeed, Daytona was devastating for Jeff Gordon, and losing 78 points to Dale Jarrett in the championship standings. The lead now down to 48. So after that week, how critical does that make this race for you, Jeff?
Well, you know, every race for the championship's critical, but we got a lot of racing left to go. It's going to go up and down, but this is a track that we're running real well at, but we didn't qualify real well. So, you know, we're going to have to be cautiously aggressive is what I like to call it, because we've got to work our way up to the front, and we know we've got a good car and a good team. You know, it is important to get a good, strong finish here.
He starts 28th, but many feel like Jeff Gordon has the best car in the field today. Now for the other championship perspective, let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Marty, over the past 4 seasons, a driver leading the points after Daytona has gone on to win the championship. That's a trend that Dale Jarrett would like to see come to an end. You start 11th today, DJ. You've won at 4 of the next 6 racetracks. Do you feel like this is the stretch for you to gain?
Well, it's a good stretch for us, and we've got to be really good throughout these races. Coming somewhere new like this, you don't know, but we feel like we've got a good race car here today. If we can just stay out of trouble, I think we've got a shot at it, and these next 6 weeks are important for us. We got to stay right in there or try to get back to the front, but we know Jeff's going to be there, Ricky's going to be there, Rusty and Tony, so it's going to be a real battle, but we just got to do our part.
He starts 11th, looking for his season's 4th victory. Today, Burns.
Have I got a blue light special for you? 2 Kmart-sponsored Ford Tauruses, aisle 1. Both Todd Bodine and Jimmy Spencer have made the front row this weekend. Jimmy Spencer was a surprise. He told me they dialed themselves so far out, they'd have to go back to basics during qualifying. They did it, and he qualified second. Todd Bodine was not much of a surprise. He was top of the charts all weekend long, and by the time qualifying was over, he had earned his 2nd Bud pole. Attention shoppers, Todd Bodine is today's fastest qualifier. Now let's go back to Bill Weber, who I think has pulled the war wagon into the checkout line.
Thanks, Dave. Next, as NBC Sports rolls on from Chicagoland, a flashback to last Saturday. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins at Daytona. It was quite a night that became quite a nightmare.